Welcome back to the Early Edge on CBS Sports Network. We're talking the W and the Commissioner's Cup leaderboard right now. You're looking at the Eastern Conference, which feels a little bit like a race right now. Honestly, in the Western Conference as well, you see the Liberty undefeated on the year, but 3-0 so far in the Eastern Conference. The Fever, one game back from them, and we might be able to decide this weekend. But we bring in Calvin Wetzler, our WNBA expert and betting analyst, to discuss it a little bit more with us here. A lot of situations could unfold in the East. Correct me if I'm wrong this weekend. Calvin, you see the Fever going to play the Liberty. Is that going to be a very marquee matchup in terms of the Commissioner's Cup?
It is. ABC, 2 p.m. on Saturday, a massive game. And the Fever are likely going to get Caitlin Clark back for this game. She's been out for a couple weeks, which is huge for them. Like you saw the standings there, 2-1 in the Commissioner's Cup, and Liberty are 3-0. So if the Fever are able to win this game at home and knock off Liberty, which no one has been able to do this season, they will be tied, and head-to-head is the tiebreaker. So you do have Atlanta behind them at 1-1, who still could make things interesting. But for the time being, it's looking like that Liberty Fever game is really going to determine who comes out of the East for the Commissioner's Cup. If the Liberty win, they should run away with it. But if not, they're going to need some help since they won't own that head-to-head tiebreaker with the one-loss team. So it's a marquee matchup all around, and for the Commissioner's Cup in the East specifically.
I was going to say, as if we needed more intrigue on top of just Caitlin Clark playing the best team in the WNBA, undefeated right now. Let's talk about the Liberty, though, because they are obviously head and shoulders above the rest of the crowd in the Eastern Conference. And even in the Western Conference, you see the Lynx 9-1 right now, also head and shoulders above the crowd. Between the two conferences here, you're looking at the Liberty with the shortest odds here, the Lynx second shortest odds. Are there any teams, Eastern or Western, that you could see coming up and maybe taking that spot from either of the respective teams?
It is looking like it's going to be a finals rematch between those two teams, but if anyone could prevent that from happening, I do think it would be the Indiana Fever. Obviously, over half their season at this point has been played without Caitlin Clark, so we still don't have a huge sample of what they really look like in year two with her, with all the new signings that they brought in. They've had some other injuries as well. Sophie Cunningham has been sidelined for a little bit. She was one of those key pieces they brought in over the offseason. So once they get fully healthy and we get to see them for a long stretch, we'll know a little bit more. But I do think that they still have that ceiling to kind of work their way into that conversation with the Liberty and Lynx. Obviously, they're playing from behind in the standings because of some of those losses that they picked up without Caitlin Clark. So they might not work their way into the top two in the standings. But when it comes playoff time, if they can be peaking at the right time, definitely a team that could knock off someone at the top.
Right, and it's still so early in the season. The fact we haven't even seen the Fever at their ceiling, it feels crazy to have so much confidence in this Liberty team. And you see the odds makers, as we just saw, they're basically even money to win the WNBA Finals. It's June 12th. So do you think it's worth even betting on that right now? Do you want to see maybe if the Fever start to give them a run for their money, you get better value? Are you more a Lynx guy here? They're around plus 320, second shortest odds.
I don't think the Liberty are worth betting at all. I think the Fever have a very real shot to knock them off on Saturday in that game, at which point you'll see those odds move up a little bit. But I am a Lynx guy. Kenz, you and I talked about this the last time I was on this show, that we both think the Lynx are perfectly poised this year, despite that loss that they took last night. They were also undefeated going into that game. But they check all the boxes, not only for everything we talked about last week in terms of having the chip on their shoulder after how that finals ended a year ago, but just in terms of the way this roster is constructed, when you look at basketball, how championship teams are built, you have the superstar, you have the MVP favorite, the league's leading scorer, Nafisa Collier, check. You have a Hall of Fame coach who's won championships before, Cheryl Reed, check. You have shooters around that superstar, Kayla McBride, Bridget Carlton, check. You have the deep bench, the bench like what you're seeing from the Pacers in Game 3. The Lynx have that as well, getting contributions from all sorts of players. So you go down the line, they have everything that you need to win a championship. And I just think the gap is not as big as the sportsbooks are making it between the Liberty and the Lynx.
You got me all riled up now for the Lynx. Like, you're right. They're just checking every box here. It feels like OKC, but we are now seeing how that's happening in the NBA Finals. Or maybe it's the Liberty that are probably more comparable to them. Nonetheless, obviously a long way away. Feels a little silly to bet on anyone at even money right now at this point in the season. Let's make some money this weekend. Let's talk about the games coming up here tomorrow night. Any player props specifically you're looking at between those two games we get?
We're going to the Sky Dream game, and we're taking Ariel Atkins under 3.5 assists at minus 150, minus 160 type of juice, or there's some places now down to under 2.5. If you're getting that at good plus money, plus 140 range, that's still fine. It seems like the assumption here is that with Courtney Vandersloot, she's going to take on more ball handling duties, which is kind of true. She has the ball in her hands more, higher usage, but her distributing responsibilities are not really going up. Her assist rate's fairly consistent with Sloot on or off the court. She had 0 in that first game without Courtney Vandersloot, no assists and only 5 potentials. So she would have to convert most of those if she were going to go over this. The Dream are double-digit favorites as well, and I lean towards them on the spread still. So this could turn into a blowout, which would only help the under if starters are going to rest in the fourth quarter. So I really think that this is a high number for Ariel Atkins on the assist here.
Fair enough. And super quick, we only have a few minutes left or a few seconds, but I just wanted to get any thoughts. What would be your best bet on that later slate game? You have Dallas headed to Vegas.
Asia Wilson might sit. Keep an eye out for that. If so, I love the wings on the spread and the over there.
All right. Yeah, it's a lot of points here with Paige Beckers on the road. I like the plus 10.5. I'm big on the underdog here. All right, Calvin, thank you so much. Of course, we will be staying up to date with all the storylines here, and you can get more bets from the crew at the Early Edge on sportsline.com, on the YouTube channel, or anywhere you get your podcasts.